So I got this job at this factory, right? And if like most of you, if you know about a factory, you guys have seniority. You really can't start off on first shift. So I actually started off training on first shift, but I actually had to go start my actual position on second shift, which is usually around 3 o'clock, the midnightish. So I'm working real hard, doing the stuff that you're supposed to do, learning. And most places, just like any other corporation or business, they start you at the easiest place they can start you at, which is in this case the packing area, which means that all the product that makes it through the facility goes through all the processes from raw materials all the way down to assembly, all the way to finished good, and that's where I was at finished goods. So what we did in finished goods it was basically pack up all these products, all these items, in the way the customer like it, the customer specific fashion, whatever they wanted. That's the way we packed them up, and we had to do this basically all day. You were in a certain spot in one move. If you're there to put the product in a box, that's what you did. Put the product in the box, push it down. Put the product in the box, push it down. Or if you're the one to put the lid on or the box flap and you tape the box shut, that's what you did. But you did this all day long. It's factory work. It's mundane. It's boring, And I'm a person right off the bat. I knew that I had responsibilities I had to take care of. It's no problem. I do whatever I needed to do, but I knew right off the bat that having these positions that were just repetition, I did not want to do. I did not like. I didn't care what I did, as long as I was able to move around. Um, I knew I liked it better. What if I was able to do different things and use my time more than just being just like a piece of a machine. That's because that's what it amounts to when you're doing this. You're like another piece of factory equipment, and I didn't like that. I knew I already didn't like it. I didn't want that to be the end. But when you're trying to take care of your loved ones, you don't really think about that. You just want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. So that's what I did. I put my head down and I continued to do that. And I worked. I worked my butt off. I didn't complain I wanted when they needed people to work extra hours. I came in and I did it. And ultimately, that got me into the position of being running this bake oven, this giant, what they call the horizontal bake oven. And basically, what that does is in the factory that I am, this bake oven dipped the radiator core, went into the oven, squeezed it to kind of make it square, and it goes out the other end to be cooled. And then, you have extra soldering process, cleaning processes to go on to the next part of the assembly. I did that for a while. And if you guys know anything about cooling systems or radiators with straight fins, they are really sharp. You need to, if you don't know about it, Google it, look it up. So there are a lot of these radiators, especially these combine radiators, have straight up and down ends, which are made out of copper fins, right? So it's very sharp. So, but in the process, both at the beginning and the end of that bake oven, you have to do a lot of what they call fin straightening, and that pretty much, man, it cut your arms up. It cut my arms up because of that motion that you're doing when you're scraping the actual radiator. And that I would come home with all kind of scratches and scrapes and stuff on my arms like that. And man, I'm telling you, when you ate up, it's messed up. But you just keep pushing and you keep doing what you got to do. And eventually, they put some kind of PPE requirements on there that had to make sure that you were covered up. And I did that for a while. We actually had to get something called confined space training, which basically you have to be trained before you can get inside a machine or inside of a confined space. And this is all OSHA requirements. You got to do this stuff because there are people that have deleted, especially I think overseas, over in China, there was somebody went into a nitrogen oven and they didn't come out alive anyway. So you have to get this confined space training. And what happens is when we had downtimes like during Christmas or July, they have um, these shutdowns periods during those holiday periods where you go in and you make sure the machines were clean, where you scraped all the soot out of the bottom of the machine. You had to put these suits on before you went in there, put a respirator on, and then they had what they call the air monitor. And what happens with that air monitor is when that air monitor goes off, it monitors the oxygen, the carbon dioxide, and different things in there to make sure it's safe for a human to breathe. But if not, it'll beep, and you have make sure you can't go into any confined space without having a buddy system there That way, if they need to pull you out, grab your legs and pull you out, they can pull you out in time. And you don't sit in there and expire. So it was years that I had to get in those things, clean all the soot out, and I did it. That's what I did. Because when you are a person like me, you're built to work hard. That's like from my previous video. Remember, we're all trained to be employees, and I'm what my wife calls a person that is loyal to a fault. That which means if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't care if I got to stay up late. I don't care if I have to miss time with my family. I don't care any of that stuff. If I make you a promise, if I make you a word, and I stick to it, then that's what I do. And I work and I work and I work. And it's not a bad trait, but being loyal to a fault is something else. You clean that shit out and you clean it out, and you're dirty. You're in an environment where anything can happen at any time. I mean, machine parts can fall on you, but you just do what you got to do. I'm a guy. It is what it is. And man, I worked that for a while. I did that, and I actually this actual process is where I actually had an upper back injury, but I did not report it. What comes to me being loyal to a fault, I should have reported it, but I didn't. And how I hurt myself is they have these what they call baking racks that the radiator has to sit on to be. Remember, I told you they have to be square, but they also, because you're going to put it in the oven, and they had sides with nothing in the middle. That means if the weight and the heat would actually make it bow. So you had to have something that was under it to support it. That's what the actual baking racks was. So I picked this baking rack up. I was picking these baking racks up all day, and you already know what position, what this motion is right here. You're bending and twisting. You're bending and twisting. Well, one day I picked this heavy thing up and I twisted, and I hurt my upper back. Don't be like me. Don't do that. I'm that kind of guy that will push. Like I said, I'm loyal to a fault. That's why if you're working with me in the future, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna work myself as hard as I can to make sure that you are taken care of. But I hurt my back. I didn't say anything to my supervisor, and because I didn't want to get time off, I didn't want to get fired. This was the one of my start of my career. It was the most money I ever made coming out of high school, and I didn't want to jeopardize that, so I didn't say anything. So day in and day out, I was working, and I could, because it was upper back injury, and I couldn't breathe. It didn't hurt for me to move around, but it hurt for me to breathe. And it did hurt when I did upper back stuff, but I could still move around. So somehow, by the grace of God, was able to continue to work. Now I should have been more responsible. I should have said something, and you guys speak up. Don't be like me, because if something else could happen down the line, and it compounds on your body, they won't take claim. They won't take claim for it. They'll say it's your fault and you should have did something. You should have said something already. So that's what I did. I continued to work. I worked my butt off. Um, I kept working my butt off till I had the opportunity to make it the first shift, and that's where I actually started to learn different things. So the next video we're going to talk about how I start to continue to move up the ladder in this company, how I continue to go into different fields, learn more things that had to do with the mind in working, and not so much the body, and continue to move my way up into where I am in real estate now. So if you like this stuff, see me for part. So if you like this, see me for part 3.